Live? Are we live? We're live. At least that's what it shows in my studio. Okay, welcome, ladies and gents. Today I've got a few scary stories that I found online and I thought they'd be pretty interesting to share just because I don't know whether they're true, whether they're fake, who knows, but they do sound pretty interesting. So let's hop right into it just because we're getting super closer to the Halloween season. That is October and the scary haunted mazes and all of that. Okay. The first story goes like this. I live in North Norway. I was looking for cloudberries and I walked up a little valley to some big rocks where I sat down to take a break and enjoy my food and coffee. The wind was rustling in the treetops, and after a while, I can hear a baby crying. Loud and clear. Downhill, there was a little cabin where a family I knew used to spend their weekends. And at first, I thought it was their toddler crying, but something seemed off. And I suddenly knew what it was. It wasn't a toddler crying, but more like a newborn. And the sound was coming from up the mountain and not from the cabin below me. Remember, I'm sitting on a rock, and below me there's a cabin, and behind me, the mountain, and that's where the sound is coming from. As soon as I realized that, I got a really, really creepy feeling, and it felt like the air was freezing. My teeth clattered from the cold, even though it was late summer to early fall, like how it is right now, September. And it was sunny. Even with the wind, it shouldn't feel that freezing cold. I packed my things and hurried off. I knew for a fact that there could be no baby up in the hills. So that's the first story. The first story, yeah, cabin below, baby crying, but the person telling the story heard the sound from behind them, the mountain going up, and not the family cabin that they knew all along had the toddler, but the family wasn't even there. So, where was this sound coming from and what was making the sound? I've heard some things about animals making weird human sounds or even demonic, strange Bigfoot sounds that could explain what this was. Who knows? So that's the first story. Got a couple more. I'm going to go for an hour about telling stories, so let's see how much I can get out. Here is the next one. So, back when I was 7 years old, I took a trip to the mountains with my dad for vacation. It was our first time being there, so we didn't know anything about the blank and sometimes went in random directions. I can hear crying in the distance, and I didn't think anything of it because it could have just been a person, but it didn't stop. It just kind of kept going for a while. I asked my dad if he heard the child crying. He said yeah, and he was getting concerned about it too. That's when my dad looked behind him after answering my question and saw a woman right behind asking if he had knew where her baby was. I was so confused since I didn't see this woman there earlier. My dad got so scared, he started running, and I followed him along, of course. What am I going to do? Stay behind? We got back in the car, and I asked why he ran back so fast. He told me the woman was not there 5 seconds ago, and that he didn't even hear her footsteps, which was impossible given that if she was walking or running, we would have heard her footsteps long before she got to us. Needless to say, or really weird to say, is that we both think it was the most paranormal thing we've experienced to date. So, this story, a woman walks up to this father and son that are just hiking in the woods, but I guess not walk up to the family, but kind of just appeared in front of the family, not in front, but behind the family, and just said, "Hey, did you guys see my crying baby?" Yeah. Wilderness stories like this creep me out just because any of us can go hiking, right? We can go hiking anywhere out in the woods, and just getting that story in your head about, hey, this kind of seems similar to that one story about a father and son seeing a woman behind them, and then that woman asking if they had seen her baby, which could be you if you're hiking alone or with your group, a random person behind you. Hey, did you see my baby? So these are fun stories. I like reading these just because I don't know if they're real. I don't know if they're fake, but they're fun just because they can be real, and it's just something to spook your buddies with, your family with. So that's story number 2. Here is story. Oh, hey, Silent Terrors. Welcome to the Scariest Stories Night Edition. So now we're on the 3rd story. If you want to pitch in with what you think about these stories or whatever your thoughts are, share. Or you have any similar stories to this that you've read in the internet, you've experienced yourself, let me know. Okay, 3rd story goes like this. When I was younger, I went hiking in the woods with my dad, brother, and stepmom. We were with a group of people and a tour guide who was telling us about the trail and the woods, everything about nature. And he told us this story about a mother and baby who died in the river we were walking by. Evidently, as he told the story, the mother drowned her baby and then drowned herself. I swear, as we walked away from the group, I heard a baby crying. But when I looked back, there was no babies in the group. I can't remember what park we were in, but it haunts me to this day. Okay. So, family out on a tour, and the guide's telling them a story about a mother drowning her baby in the river right there that they're hiking right next to, and then she drowns herself. As this person that is telling the story walks away, they can hear a baby crying. But they remembered there were no babies in the group. Yeah, interesting. Lots of scary stories where there are drownings, babies, people, ghosts that come out of the lakes, rivers, the water. Lots of stuff like that, which is pretty scary if, you're already afraid of the water. Add a ghost to that equation, and not like a crocodile, an alligator, a piranha, a shark. And it makes it all the more, no, I'm good. I don't want to jump in the water. Why, Timothy? there are ghosts in the water that can pull me down to the bottom. There was actually a movie, I don't remember the name, but when I was a kid, it scared the hell out of me because what I remember was it was like a wife trying to run away from her husband in their house. I don't know if he was possessed or he was just trying to kill her for whatever reason. I don't remember the specifics, but he's chasing after her. She runs out of their house, and their house is a lakeside house right next to the water. She starts running at the lake, into the lake. I think she ran, or was it a car that she accidentally drove into the lake? Can't remember what exactly, but right when she's a bit into the lake where she's having a paddle, she thinks she's away from her husband, right? And suddenly there's something that tugs on her leg and starts pulling her down. She looks down and it's like a zombie lady, a zombie woman, a dead woman pulling her to the bottom of the lake. That scared the hell out of me. Oh my man. I gotta figure out the name, but yeah, that was pretty scary. I'm scared of ghosts and alligators. Have fun with the water now. You got alligators and ghosts and goblins and witches in the water that can pull you to the bottom. Sounds like what lies beneath. Possibly. Possibly. What lies beneath? Ooh. Okay, looking at some pictures. Oh, dude. I think the Silent Tears has got it. Yeah, it could be this one. The scene where the woman in this movie gets pulled down under by a dead woman in the lake. Okay, let's move on to the next story. All right, in 1979, I was on a 5-day backpack in the Sierras with two friends. We were all young bucks sporting knives on our belts. On the second day out, two mid-20s, disheveled, dirty, scruffy-looking guys came down the trail. They had no backpacks or equipment, which struck us as a weird thing given that we were deep in the mountains. No equipment? What are you guys doing out here? I can tell they were sizing us up, and they were creepy. They asked us if we had any food to spare them, so I wanted to be nice and gave them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and they devoured it in 30 seconds. They obviously hadn't eaten in some time. We told them we had to get moving to reach our destination by nightfall. After we left, the three of us stopped and talked about how weird that situation was and how glad we were to be away from those odd guys. A week after we got back to civilization, the Sacramento Bee had a crime story about girls getting sexually assaulted in the area of the Sierras we had camped in. They had photos of the two suspects. It was those two guys. Wow. This story is crazy because it seems so real. They give a date, 1979, and they give a city, the city of Sacramento, right in California. And the Sacramento Bee, which I'm sure is a legitimate news publication. So that's scary. Wow. Something bad could have happened to this person telling the story. Two guys, three girls, I'm assuming. They had knives on their belts, and who knows what these two guys were up to before these girls had found out these guys were actual criminals. Dang, they crossed paths with some crazies. That's scary. See, stuff like this is also, I wouldn't say fun. It's interesting because when I'm out hiking, I do kind of wonder as I'm passing by people along the path, what is their life story, you know? What are they up to? Why are they on this hike? Are they just getting their stress levels down? Are they just trying to relieve their stress? What's the story? And this one, obviously, those two guys were bad people. Yeah. My parents left that movie on TV when I was a kid and alone, and it traumatized me. I think the same thing happened to me. Silent Terrors. I think the same thing happened to me. Parents leaving a scary movie on for their kids to watch and remember for the rest of their lives. That involves a monster pulling someone down beneath the dark, murky waters. Eesh. You know, I do miss the days of TV ads, TV commercials late into the night. Kind of remember that as a kid, just falling asleep to them. Hey, for $12.99, that doesn't sound right. For the low payments of $59.99 in 20 installations over mail order or check, you can have your own dining set made of porcelain. Those are the things I remember as a kid, just falling asleep to. After watching Power Rangers and all that. Fun times. Fun times. Next story is about a son. Here we go. This is my son's account. Remember, found some stories off the internet, so it's going to be everywhere. So this is my son's account. He called me over so I can tell the story of what happened to my wife and daughter, Eva. Me and my wife, Casey, were avid hikers and often hiked the Appalachian Trail. We even thru hiked it in 2002. Anyway, we were 20 minutes away from a stop that we loved. It's where I proposed to her and where we did the nasty. We met when we were dumb kids, and puberty makes you dumb. Makes you do dumb things also, on dark trails at night. It was a goth thing, and we thought we were so cool, dressed in all black and piercings just about everywhere you can think of. One night in 2009, we were walking down the trail. My wife and daughter stopped at a creek, and we set up a few tents. We planned on sleeping there. Something I still regret is getting mad at Casey and sleeping in a little shelter I had made. I woke up the next morning to see Casey was gone and had left a note saying she went on a walk with Ava. That walk wasn't just a walk. She had killed Ava during that walk and went into the woods. There is no trace of her to this day. Eva's body was found at the bottom of a waterfall. She was murdered with a stick. Holy crap. Ooh, that was a doozy. Wow. Hopefully there was not anybody else listening to me read that one, because that... Wow. Dude. So this guy went on a hike with his wife and their daughter, and seemed like they got into an argument, or he said something to his wife, and he went to sleep in his own tent right after. And the next day he couldn't find them, and later their baby was found murdered with a stick and the wife was never found. What? Holy shit. Okay. Water break. Wow. Ooh, holy moly. That that is very plausible. Can't say that could be fake, that could be real. That is very, very possible to have happened. Won't verify it. Can we get a scary, fun story, please? Because that just felt too real and too sad. Okay, next story. Hopefully, it doesn't involve anything with a baby or any real sounding murders. This one goes: a few years ago, I was walking through the woods off the beaten track and smelt this really overpowering sweet smell. Being nosy, I pulled back the undergrowth to have a look and found a dead body. The guy had clearly been there a while and wasn't looking great, all swollen and green and black with various runny bits. The local wildlife had also been dining well for a few days. I called the police, who told me to wait with the body until they arrived. Being in the middle of nowhere, it took a while for them to arrive, and it got dark. I was just sat there in the dark with him for a long, long time. It turned out he had committed suicide. For a long time afterwards, I had dreams about him, and he would talk to me about not so nice things. Mainly about how he was angry I had disturbed his resting place and he wanted me to kill myself. Probably just my imagination, but all pretty disturbing at the same time. He still turns up in my dreams from time to time, and no doubt will be tonight after typing this. That was a good one. That was a good one. That was creepy. Guy finds a dead body while waiting for the cops. He's got some horrible thoughts. And then later on, he gets dreams about the dead corpse, the person haunting him. And yeah, saying not so nice things in his dreams. Ooh, that's pretty scary. Pretty scary. It's like, hey, can't we all just get along? Just make the ghost a pizza and just offer it as forgiveness. Hey, I'm sorry I disturbed your dead body. Here's a pizza. I'm just gonna go burn it in the fire pit and make it as an offering for you. Please don't haunt me in my dreams anymore, because yeah, I like to get my full 8 hours of sleep and probably a little bit more, 10 hours, and I wouldn't like a ghost to wake me up at 2 a.m. in the morning. Come on, please, leave me alone. Next story goes like this. I was camping with my husband and his family at a small, remote lake in our state. Our state, New Mexico, has always had many stories of paranormal activity just about everywhere. Well, on this camping trip, there were about 10 of us off the shore, off the lake, and one other group of people camping. Maybe like 6 of them at the next site over off the shore. It was nighttime, and both our group and the other were doing typical activities, making s'mores, having a few drinks, telling stories, when all of a sudden we all heard what sounded like a little girl yelling out for help. The other group of campers asked us if we had any children in the group. We didn't. Neither did they. But we were all positive we were hearing a little girl and decided to search the area we heard the noises from together. Rather quickly, we found something. There was a field behind our campsites, and we all saw a very tall, pure white figure standing maybe 100 feet away from us in the field, making the noises. We all agreed this thing looked maybe 6 feet tall, skinny, and white as white can be. Everyone got quiet. But we were all together still and made our way closer to investigate. Whatever it was that we saw started backing off as we got closer, until it disappeared beyond some trees. Every single person in both campsites was freaked out by this. And that night, while we tried to sleep, we continued to hear those little girl calling for help sounds. It gives me chills to think back on this. Ooh, that was good. I like that one. That one was really good. So, 2 campsites, 2 groups at a lake. We're hearing some little girl sounds. They weren't sure where it was coming from, so they decided to go figure out where the sound was coming from. Obviously, if you're at a lake at night and you're just trying to enjoy yourself and each other, and you hear a little girl, like, dude, shut up, we're trying to have fun. But that's not normal. It's a little girl and not a regular adult sound. Okay, let's go figure out if a little girl needs our help, right? Hey guys, you guys hear it too? Yeah, we hear it too. Where is it coming from? We don't know. Let's all go look for it together. What the hell is that? Not in my room. Just pretending I'm part of the campsite, one of the campers, and we see something. What the hell is that? Something 6 feet tall, white, super white, almost transparent, almost like we can see through it. That is not normal. That is freaky. That is scary. We're like, yeah, no, we're out. We're going back to our campsite and we're going to lock ourselves in our tents. Yeah, no. But as you're trying to go to sleep and everybody else at the campsite, all you guys hear are the sounds of a little girl just screeching. What? That's so fun. That's so freaky. Wonder, have any of you guys heard while camping any weird sounds? Anything? Because I've gone camping, I don't think I've heard things, but then again, I'm just like, that must be a squirrel. It must be like a fox or a raccoon or something in the shrub, in the trees, doing some wacky things, trying to scare this dude camping alone in his car. That's pretty much it. I've never heard like a human, or what sounds like a human girl trying to scare the hell out of me. Yeah, not have that happen before. Although if it did, I would get the hell out of there ASAP. Yeah, no, I'm good. What do we got? Silent terrors, coyotes, and deer. Deer can sound scary. Deer, possibly. Yeah, I guess if I were to play some deer sounds on YouTube. Yeah, I have a feeling deer are the assholes of nature that like to scare the crap out of human beings at night. And then the deer will go back to his deer buddies and just start cackling and laughing. We scared those bastards that annoy us, that keep running over our brethren on the highway. All right, next story will be my boyfriend and I were in our house eating dinner like usual. Our front door was open and the screen door was closed. we heard the screen door swing open and slam shut. We both went to the living room, then out onto the front porch. As soon as we went outside, we were hit by a thick, cloying, floral, sweet smell. It smelled like funeral flowers. If you've ever smelled that scent before, just overwhelmingly strong and concentrated right in front of our house. We both felt kind of creeped out. So we went back into the house and to our bedroom. I sat on the edge of our bed, which faced the hallway, and one of our dogs came and hopped onto my lap. My boyfriend and I were speculating about what the door slamming and the smell was all about. I was looking straight ahead into the hall during a lull in the conversation, and I saw a dark shadow pass down the hall, go past our bedroom door, and into another room at the end of the hall. It was just tall, vaguely human-shaped, and solid black, like the area where it was somehow just had all the light sucked out of it and you couldn't see through it. Our dog saw it too. He went nuts, barking and growling and whining. For some reason, that scared me more than anything, that my dog had seen it too. I started crying and said I wanted to leave the house, so we got our dogs in the car and we left. We were having plumbing problems anyway, so we ended up just staying in a hotel room that night. When we came back the next day, things seemed totally normal, and nothing like that has happened since. Definitely one of the spookiest things I've ever experienced in my own house. Fun story. That was fun. Fun, good old chillin' with the husband, the wife, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, and the doggo, and then all of a sudden you guys see down the hallway in your living room a dark shadow passing past your door, going down the hallway into another room, and it's just pure blackness. And then the part where they left the house and it just smelled like funeral flowers. Interesting. It's kind of like a ghost was making a pit stop through their house, didn't really say hello, wanted to use the restroom, so just went into the restroom, used it real quick, came out. Oh, it smells like dead flowers, or flowers that you give when there's a funeral, and then boom, bye apparition, ghost that just used my restroom without asking. That's how I like to think about these stories, in a fun way, just to kind of get the context into a fun little movie script. Have you guys seen anything in your house? Any dark apparitions? Any weird sounds? Your animals acting a little weird and there's nothing there, but the dog's like looking at a corner, barking at something you don't see? I only say this because I've read stuff like that. Haven't had it happen to me yet. Here's another story. My friends and I found a 22-year-old girl, face down in the mud, both legs broken with compound fractures. She had no cell phone, no water, no food, and nothing to keep her warm. Her friend was dead. Here's a little backstory. My friends and I were hiking in a pretty popular spot in our area. It's a 150-foot waterfall that takes about 45 minutes of hiking uphill to get to. We decided to go bouldering around the bottom of the waterfall. There are various little there are various little pools and boulders where the water runs off from the waterfall. This bouldering trail is not on the main trail, and not many hikers ever veer off the main trail anyway. When we found her, obviously we called 911 and gave her any supplies we had. Eventually, a helicopter showed up and they flew her to the nearest hospital. Turns out she was hiking with her friend the night before when they both fell off the waterfall. Her friend must have gone to get help, but unfortunately died less than 100 yards from where we found the girl. So no one knew she was hurt or that she was even there. It's a miracle she was still alive, and mind-blowing to think what she had gone through when we found her 20 hours later. Boy. So, this group of boulderers, I don't know if that's the word, where they climb up a rock. In this case, they were climbing up the waterfall using their hands, their feet, and they found an injured hiker. And the injured hiker was part of a group. There were two of them, and the hiker's friend died. Ouch, ouch. Too real, too real. It says something about pictures, but I don't want to get into the pictures because that seems a little bit creepy to look at right now. Hopefully you guys don't experience any injured hikers on your hiking experiences or any dead bodies, because that would not be fun. At least it sounds like in my head. Kind of would ruin the day, right? Okay, next story. Hopefully this is a good, fun story. I'm looking for fun stories. Maybe I should have went back and just reread these and made sure they were fun and not sad with death involved. All right, anyway, let's just finish them. This old woman hiker in her 70s somehow saw us in reverse order through a wormhole or something. The first time we saw her, she said, "Oh, well, hello again." I just passed it off as her being old and slightly senile. Then 30 minutes later, we saw her again, and this time she just said hi as she passed us. I'm not even sure how she got there. She was going the opposite direction of us on the trail both times. What? Okay. So you're hiking on a trail, and this old lady is walking towards you, and she goes, "Oh, well, hello again." It's like, what? I guess, hi, bye, as she walks and hikes opposite of you. You're hiking, and then you see the same old lady hiking towards you, and she just goes, "Hi." It's like, wait, what? What? What the heck? Wow. Okay, that is a weird story. I'm going to read that one more time just because it's so strange. This old woman hiker in her 70s somehow saw us in reverse order through a wormhole. The first time we saw her, she said, "Oh, well, hello again." I just passed it off as her being old and slightly losing her mind, losing her memory. Then 30 minutes later, we saw her again, and this time she just said hi as she passed us. I'm not even sure how she got there. She was going the opposite direction of us on the trail both times. What? Okay. That's a mind frigger. Okay, let's move on. That's kind of blowing my mind, trying to rationalize something that could be paranormal. Hey, that old woman may be a ghost. Maybe a ghost. Just saying. The next one is not about hiking so much as car camping, but we were way the hell out there in the middle of nowhere. Right? That was a creepy one. So this one's going to be about car camping, and they were way the hell out there in the middle of nowhere on BLM land in Colorado. I think that's Bureau of Land Management. So public land, you can do whatever you want on it. This was in Colorado. The group drove for an hour and a half down a Forest Service road and didn't see another soul. You can see headlights and hear cars from miles away from our campsite. It's not like somebody could have snuck up unnoticed. We had 3 cars with us and 8 people. Just got done eating dinner, cleaned up. It was getting dark, and so we went back to the cars real quick before hitting our tents for the night. Somebody had slashed the front right tire on each of the 3 cars with what appeared to be a box cutter. Everyone thought it was a prank, but it became very apparent very quickly that it wasn't. All of us were beyond spooked, like panicking spooked. Scary to watch, spooked. We all had spares, and one dude had a gun. So we threw on our donuts while that guy literally guarded us and got the hell out of there. I still have nightmares about it sometimes. Just knowing there was some person probably watching us, maybe wanting to harm us, makes me feel physically ill to this day. That was a good one. I like that one because it reminds me of The Hills Have Eyes. Don't know if you guys seen that one. That's what this story gives me the vibes of. The Hills Have Eyes, a little context. It's movie, horror, thriller movie. Family driving in the desert. Boom, tires pop. Tires go out just because something somehow placed a wire along the road with spikes, and there went the family's tire. So after that, a lot of bad things happened to the family and the individuals. Very horrific things in this movie that I don't want to say, and I forgot most of it. I do remember some very, very traumatic scenes from that movie, though. So yeah, if you guys are ever into wanting to see a horror flick about the desert, things that may be traumatic and may not make you want to visit the desert at night in the middle of nowhere, this movie, The Hills Have Eyes, is what I recommend. Okay, next. It was in the summer around dusk, and I was camping at a remote campground with my dad. There was a lake right next to the grounds, and my dad and I would trailblaze through the forest right next to the lake, because if you went far enough, there was a really, really pretty waterfall. A few strange things happened on this hike. We found a slash pile that had a little kid's shoe on top. When we came to a small clearing, my dad had to take a leak to where he faced one side of the clearing and I faced the other, and we both clearly heard a child say, "I'm over here." My dad thought it was me, and when he realized it wasn't, We spent half an hour looking for someone, but we found nobody. After that, we gave up on going to the waterfall and started to make our way back to the camp. But there were clear sounds of something following us. Twigs snapping, bushes shaking. We haven't been camping there since. That's a satisfying hiking thriller story because it it's fun because it could be real, could be not real. It's paranormal, ghostly, and it involves a damn kid like always. Hiking with your friend or your dad, your mother, or whatever. You guys are just looking in different directions, just kind of taking in nature, enjoying the views, and then suddenly at the same time, you guys hear, "I'm over here." It's like, what? Hey, did you say that? Was that you? No, obviously I don't sound like a kid, right? These are things that, could be pranks on the person that's telling the story by the other person. Who knows, but it is fun. Damn ghost kids and scaring people on trails. Okay. Any stories yet? Anybody have any hiking stories? Please share them. If you have any paranormal, ghostly, or doesn't even have to be ghostly. It could just be something funny that just happened and it just scared you for a quick second. Next story goes like, I was walking around my neighborhood alone once, enjoying the night air and watching the stars. There was this little pond near my house with a wooded area that had trees, a bench, and a rope swing that went over the water. I sat down on the bench to look at the stars and I heard some rustling off to my right, towards the trees. Bears were not uncommon where I'm from, so I took out my flashlight and shone it all around that tree. I didn't see anything, and that freaked me out. So I kept my flashlight on and my senses aware, but I stayed on the bench to mull over my thoughts and watch the sky some more. I don't know why I did that, because that's some typical horror movie type shit. Anyway, a few minutes pass, and I hear nothing more, so I lean back into the bench and start to relax a bit. I'm staring up at the sky and my flashlight pointed downwards so as not to create any light pollution when I notice something in the tree in my peripheral side vision. I couldn't tell what it was, but the branch was swaying ever so slightly. And the rustling noises was back too. I immediately sat up and stared at it, but hadn't shown my flashlight at it just yet, in case of pissing off some huge bird or something else. I don't think I've ever been that scared in my life. I remember my heart was beating so fast and I can taste blood. I stared at it for what seemed like forever, and it slowly stopped moving, but the shape was still there. Bears do climb trees sometimes, so I was hesitant to run away in case that's what it was. So I just kept staring at it. After a while, I mustered up the little raisin-esque cojones to shine my goddamn light on the tree. It was a man. A freaking man. In the freaking tree. Crouched in the tree like some silent, naked monkey. He had no expression on his face, but his eyes were open really, really wide. When my light landed on him, he started to move like he was going to come down. But I didn't stick around to see if he did. So I jumped the bench and I ran for the freaking hills. I ran to my house and around to the back door and locked myself in without looking back once. I went around and made sure every single window and door was locked. I even checked the freaking attic. Good stuff. Good story. Naked man in the trees as you're chilling on the bench at night, having fun with your flashlight, your thoughts, just chilling. Chilling. And then you hear something in the trees, you shine your light on it, and it's a freaking silent, naked, dirty man. Naked monkey about to come down at you. So you run back in your house, lock all the doors, lock all the windows, and lock your attic that you don't even have an attic, but just in case. That's a good one. 2 thumbs up. Attics, I gotta say, very creepy. If you have an attic, share all the stories about black widows and all the rats you hear up your attic. I just say that just because, like, every horror movie that has a house in it has a attic, and something always happens in the attic. Always. Silent terrors. Maybe it was Tarzan. A silent, naked, dirty Tarzan. Possibly. Not even a leaf down there. Not even a leaf to cover anything. No charm, not even a smile, a smirk. Just silent. That's like Tarzan's evil brother. That's a creepy, naked guy that goes out terrorizing people, chilling on benches, instead of his brother that saves the world, rescues girls in distress. Possibly. Oh, I think this is the last story. Okay. The last stretch. Here we go. The last story goes like this, guys. If I can find where it starts. Okay, here we go. When I was very little, like 5 or 6 years old, my dad used to take me on all sorts of adventures through nature, especially when we owned a little cottage up in the Scottish Highlands. Now my dad is sort of a combo Irish bloke plus Yorkshire lady type of fellow, and very spry, despite his being about 55 at the time. And on this particular occasion had decided we were going to go hiking way up into the cliffs. I was quite happy with this development as it meant a piggyback ride for at least 90% of the difficult bits. This was a proper trek. He wanted to get to one of the highest bluffs so we can have an amazing 360-degree view of the gorgeous meadows and some sparkling sea. But after we reached the top plains, where it's all short, wind-whipped grass and you can see for miles, he suddenly turned very still and very quiet. When you're small, your parents are God, right? So when seeing your dad look frightened is scary. Scarier than anything your own mind can come up with. So I was pulling on his arm and going, what? My mom is epileptic and I saw her fits when I was a kid. So I thought it was happening to him too. Or something similar. And I wouldn't know what to do because we're up on this huge cliff and no one is around. When we just as fast when just as fast as he started it, he just snapped out of it. Fireman lifted me right up and just started striding away without a word over his shoulder. I could see a big, pale yellow object stuck into the ground like an obelisk. I know now that it was a refrigerator. When I was older, I asked my dad about what had happened when I was a kid. He stiffened up and told me that when he was a little boy in the 50s, he and his little friends had found an old style fridge in the woods. And being little boys, they opened it, of course. Well, they had found a body, another kid who, by whichever means, had found themselves in the fridge and unable to get out. And my dad has never mentioned a gender, which leads me to believe he either witnessed a very decomposed or skeletonized individual, but I can't ask him. Can't ask him that. Remember that episode of The Simpsons when they unlock Homer's PTSD and it turns out he found a dead body when he was a teenager? Well, my dad grew increasingly uncomfortable the first time we saw the episode and had excused himself in the kitchen before the ending. My dad has seen some gnarly shit, but for whatever reason, he will not discuss anything further about this dead child in that fridge. Only that it had happened. So when he explained, I assumed it was the trauma and I said something like, "Oh, Dad, that's awful. So when you saw the fridge up there, it bring up the old memories, right?" And he honestly looked at me with his big blue eyes like I was a damn idiot. I'll never, ever forget it. "No, Amy," he said in a very low tone of voice. It was because it was the same fridge he had seen when he was a kid. Bang boozle. Bang doozy. That was the story. That was the story. So Dad's seen the same fridge when he was a kid as he had seen with his own kid, but as an adult. What is that, 30, 40 years later? Same fridge, still there. Same dead body inside, possibly. Good story. What a story. That was the last story. Question now. What was my favorite story? Your favorite story? Oh, favorite story. There were a lot. I think I'd have to go with the one about the couple in the house that smelled the floral, decomposed funeral flowers in front of their house. When they went in the house, there's a apparition that passed by their door in the hallway into another room, just because that one felt the realest, and just because it seems like it's from a ghost movie. Oh my, oh my, oh my. My, oh my, oh my. Okay, last I like the old lady one the best. The one where the old lady kept on popping back up on the trail even though she just passed them like twice. That that was a silly, weird, possibly real glitch in the Matrix. Hi guys, saw you guys a minute ago, and then you see her again. Hi, like she's never seen you guys before. Yeah, I gotta say that was the most mind effing story, mind boggling. Like how the heck do you? I don't know. I don't know, but I'll end it there. Okay. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed these stories. I just wanted to share them because we are nearing the Halloween season and the spirit is alive with all the ghosts and the ghouls coming to say hi. Yeah. More to share. More to share Monday, Wednesday, Friday, hopefully. Hopefully. And maybe different things and not sad stories that are real with dead babies. Yeah, no, I don't like those. So I'll probably find more fun, mind effing stories that kind of make us confused than sad. I like that feeling better. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video and have a early happy Halloween. Toodaloos.